On this episode of Dirt Road Traveler, we do a wee visit to Glengoyne. Alrighty, we've arrived safely via taxi at Glengoyne.
We've never had to use that word out loud before.
Never have I said
It's an
apiculture before. Apiarius.
Yeah.
I was concerned about calling apiary because it sounded like ape and that just didn't seem right to me.
Apiary, yeah.
And look at these bees.
So I've just taken these.
What that shows there is how maturation works inside of these casks. It's how we turn that clear, new make spirit from the stills into what you find in a bottle of whiskey for at least 3 years in one day. And of course it has to be distilled, matured and bottled in Scotland. Nice and simple, that last one. Massive storm that broke the banks of the pond, overflowed that waterfall and washed those warehouses away.
I'll explain the terminology of it in a wee second. So it's a lovely golden colour and it's our youngest whisky at 10 years. So we like to say, let the whisky dance, which just means give it a little swirl. And then if you hold it back up to the light, you'll see that there's a beading line. And from the beading line, there's legs, or cathedral arches sometimes people like this. Cocktail master coming to make up this. And he's made it, it's called the honey bee cocktail, and he's made it in such a way that the ingredients that are in it, you can actually, or you could have been able to get in the olden days. So when we were talking about the history and Jordan was explaining, it's things that were accessible around about that time. So you've got a wee bit of lemon in there, you've got your, of course, your Glengoyne spirit, your 10-year-old. You've got a wee bit of ginger ale and then it's garnished with lemon as well. But the important bit is the honey. So we're very proud here at Glengoyne that when we're doing our distillation, so we are classed as the slowest distillation in Scotland. When we were going through our second distillation, there are still bits that we can't use within our whisky, but we don't want to get rid of them. We used to get them transported and we don't want to do that any longer. So what we thought was, well, how can we get it away that we're being biodiverse or we're being good to the environment? So we've got what's called a reed bed system. So across the road in the lowlands, so you're in the Highlands just now, but when you're in the lowlands, when you go across the road, you will see these huge reed beds that are about 7 or 8 feet high, and they go all the way down to where the railway used to be.
We just finished our tasting. Beautiful. The 10-year, the 15-year, and a bee cocktail, which was quite nice. And there's a little time capsule outside here. Let's go look at a waterfall. And this is the wee Glengoyne waterfall. This is actually a source that they use as part of the distilling process. And the tour ends, of course, with a visit to the gift shop. Mrs. Dirt Road Traveler and I will be making sure to take a bottle with us. Okay, so our cheat was to take a taxi cab from the Kirkhouse Inn to Glengoyne. There is a city bus that runs once an hour. Of course, our tour finished 5 minutes after the bus passed us. So we're gonna walk back. We weren't planning on walking back, but we're walking back. So
The sun is out.
the sun is out. It's perfect. We're gonna walk because we haven't walked enough. Well, at least the view behind us is making it absolutely worthwhile. It's beautiful. Everything here is beautiful. And then we got to the top of the wee little hill that gets us onto, believe it or not, the West Highland and John Muir's Way. on our way back to Strathblane. We've noticed this through our walks. These amazing grassy areas between the trees. No field of pine needles, just grass and moss and wonderful things. And these two lovely mounds, the one on screen left is where people climb up to get a good view. We decided not to. We're in sandals today because we were at Glengoyne. But these are the remains of volcanoes that used to sit up there, and they've been inactive for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. But that's the history of those two mounds. Really happy that we decided to walk back because we're seeing this arched bridge. It looks like it's an old train bridge, but we can't be sure. Doesn't really matter. It's still very, very cool. The gates. So I want to stop here and talk about the gates. In Scotland, it is the law that as long as your intentions are good and you don't harm grazing livestock, you can pass through gates as you travel through. The neat thing is, what we've been seeing today, is these gates have these super ornate gate posts and locking mechanisms to make it easy for people to open and close the gates. And in this particular gate's case, beautiful stone corners beside the posts that are clearly very, very old. As we look back after passing through our 8th gate, this is the view that we have of the valley. Absolutely gorgeous. Cenotaphs are always a wonderful reminder that the freedoms that we have in Canada and other countries around the world that are free isn't free.